Our reporter Lester Kivett joins us now from Parliament with the very latest. Lester, I understand just a moment ago you in fact saw Ben Lachranzi arriving in Parliament for this testimony. It's going to be an interesting day, to say the least.
That's right, but I think we were expecting the other delegation of Steinhoff to also arrive. They have just arrived here at Parliament, but Ben Lachranzi arriving just a short while ago here at Parliament. He's expected to appear before a multi-committee panel here at Parliament, including the Standing Committee of Finance, SCOPA, as well as the Standing Committee, the Portfolio Committee rather, on Trade and Industry. So he's expected to come under a barrage of questions from MPs this afternoon, and definitely it was really expected that Marcus Jooste would have been here today, but late yesterday Parliament announcing that it has withdrawn its summons of Marcus Jooste to appear before Parliament. In fact, they've reached agreement in court that Marcus Jooste will now appear before Parliament next week.
So, Lester, I mean, it's, what's it, eight months since the Steinhoff saga first exploded in the media. Are we saying that the people who were so badly affected by the billions of rand that was lost, specifically in pension funds, will finally get to hear some answers today?
Well, we're definitely hoping so, and I think the reason why there's such a multi-parliamentary committee sitting today is because of the involvement of the Public Investment Corporation, that government pensions were also heavily invested in Steinhoff, and because of the devaluing of Steinhoff shares during its collapse, meaning government employees' pensions were then also at risk. And this is why Parliament says that it wants to keep a very, very close eye on the ongoing investigations into Steinhoff. If you can remember, the Steinhoff management had said that they had handed over files to police and the Hawks to investigate any illegal activity. As far as we know, there's been no progress made on those investigations by the Hawk. But Parliament says that it wants to keep a close eye because of the vulnerability of government employees' pensions. But I think at the same time, there's also a deep concern from Parliament that while there had been an ongoing investigation into state capture and government corruption, there's been echoes from the President to members of the portfolio committees saying that they also want to look into corporate and private sector corruption. And this is definitely a case which has garnered their attention, and I don't think Parliament will be leaving this issue anytime soon.
So, Lester, you talked about the ongoing investigations into Steinhoff, all of those files of information handed over to the Hawks and to police. We know from reports that the Hawks' investigative ability has been scuppered in recent years. How much faith do we have in them carrying out the Steinhoff investigation going forward?
Well, from listening to the Police Portfolio Committee in Parliament just a few weeks ago, there were not really positive signs coming from Hawks investigators. They say that their investigation is ongoing. They're also seeking European investigators' help, especially in the Netherlands, where Steinhoff is also under investigation there. So it does seem as if there's an international effort to get to the bottom of this issue. But for the time being, there doesn't seem to be much hope coming from the outcomes of a criminal investigation. I think that is why also Parliament wants to put its foot down and stamp its authority. Next week, Marcus Jooste comes to Parliament, but there had been an agreement that that conversation will be limited to flaws in government's own financial regulatory system, which could have led to the devaluing of Steinhoff shares. So not a very targeted response, or not a really targeted interrogation of Marcus Jooste next week, but rather a broad discussion of government's financial regulatory framework.
All right, but today we focus on Ben Lachranzi and his testimony. Thanks very much for that update. Lester Kivett is our reporter at Parliament, as the former Steinhoff CFO is expected to testify before Parliament's multi-portfolio committee right here this morning. And of course, we'll bring you further updates throughout the day right here on ENCA Now.